your mother. It's time for another episode of Birds with Friends. Just the
Duo.
of feathery brethren, weathering any season to see the Eagles eating teams like Scrammy's top with cheese. It's Philadelphia. Bo and Zach kicking it cooler than
Two.
Penguins till Zach runs off with his valet keys. He's a real nuanced goose. Pull up a branch, get loose. It's time for some juice on some
Birds with Friends.
The early bird gets the worm, but prefers getting turned like a turn on some
Birds with Friends.
Bo and Zach coming at you with stats and things flapping.
We
their
are
wings
going
on.
to rip out the hearts of other podcasts. We are going to bite off their eyeballs. We're going to start every segment watching the scene from The Last of the Mohicans where the guy takes a bite out of the other guy's heart. We may not be good, but we're going to be nasty. We're going to reflect the blue-collar nature of this city. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Birds with Friends at 2:15 in the morning. Live from Lincoln Financial Field. Zach Berman, Bo Wulf. We had this beautiful shot set up that was going to show you the lit-up Lincoln Financial Field, the brand new Eagles word mark in the background that delivered an important turkey to one of us in Swooper Storecasting. And then right as we were about to record, the lights in the stadium turned off. That tells you how much we are grinding, just like the Eagles, Zach. 24-7, a dominant performance from this Eagles team. And in the home opener in prime time, there were stars out in South Philadelphia. You had Bryce Harper, you had James Harden, you had Bradley Cooper, you had Quinta Brunson, you had M. Night Shyamalan and Reese Hoskins, and everybody was here, and it was a party. Jalen Hurts was fantastic. Potentially, I would say arguably the best game of his career.
I agree.
The defense had perhaps their best performance under Jonathan Gannon. 24-7, Darius Slay shuts down Justin Jefferson, intercepts Kirk Cousins twice. It was, I think, a national introduction to the NFL that this Eagles team is a real potential Super Bowl contender.
That's a good way to open it.
Let's get crazy.
And you are correct, because I think going into the year, there was always this quarterback qualifier on the Eagles. Well, it depends how Hurts can do. Does Hurts progress? Does he do X, Y, Z? Through 2 games here, Hurts has answered the bell. And tonight was his signature performance. It was the best he's played in an Eagles uniform. And really, I think this is going to be a memorable Jalen Hurts game when we talk about some of the great Monday night performances by quarterbacks in Eagles history, whether it's Michael Vick's game in Washington in 2010, whether it's Randall Cunningham somehow staying upright when Carl Banks was coming after him in 1988, even Carson Wentz in 2017, that game right in front of us against Washington. The game Jalen had tonight, and in particular that first half, will enter that same lexicon, if you will. Like this was his signature performance to date.
Jalen Hurts finishes 26 of 31 for 333 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception that went off Kenny Gainwell's hands. Yeah, so 5 incompletions. One of them is a drop by Gainwell. The other is a drop by Dallas Goedert. He was unbelievable in this game, also adding 57 yards rushing, including 2 touchdowns and a rumbling, stumbling 26-yarder in which he followed Dallas Goedert's block. That was really nice. And we talked about it during the week. This was going to be a test of the Eagles, not just in terms of what we thought was a better team. It turns out maybe the Lions are about equal, but a different type of test. And in week 1, Jalen Hurts, faced a ton of blitzes, a ton of man coverage, and scrambled a lot, which he needed to do. And it saved the offense. And as a passer, he had what through 2 weeks was the single lowest game in terms of air yards per attempt last week. In this game, he hits Quez Watkins on that bomb downfield. It was the 9th deepest game of air yards per attempt of any quarterback in a game this season. He saw more zone coverage. He had to fit the ball into tighter windows. He had to read progression reads throughout the game. He didn't scramble as much. Most of his running came on design runs. He played a different type of game and was maybe even more impressive. I think, like, if you are getting out over your skis on Jalen Hurts, it's hard not to be thinking that this guy, like, if he can play like this, they are for real. I mean, it's 2 weeks, but
Yeah,
he was unbelievable.
I think the term that Nick Sirianni used was complete control. And that's not something you often hear for a second-year quarterback. And it's not something, he's a third-year quarterback, second year starting. But he had command of the offense. I think, for instance, that drive at the end of the second half, they start at the 5-yard line.
It's a great point.
And, the pass that he had to Dallas Goedert there to set up the field goal, pressure's coming, hits Goddard. Like, it's the type of play you want to see from Jalen Hurts. He had passes to Devonte Smith, and when he found the soft spots in the zone, he knew where he was going. He was decisive. Honestly, I don't want to go overboard, but it was the type of performance that you can go overboard because he answered so many questions that have existed about him.
I'm so glad you brought up that possession at the end of the first half, because I thought that was so telling about the state of this team right now. Okay, so they're up 21-3. They get the ball at their own, at their own 5-yard line with 1:21 left and 3 timeouts. And if Patrick Mahomes gets the ball, at the 5-yard line with 1:21 left and 3 timeouts, you're thinking we're going to score. If Josh Allen gets the ball there, you're thinking we're going to score. The Eagles, through 2 games, are third in the league in EPA per drive. They're the only team in the league with 2 top 10 performances in EPA per drive. So if you fancy yourself one of the best offenses in the league, go get it. And what do? They go try to go get it. Now, there was one timeout called by Kevin O'Connell, just like there was one called by Dan Campbell last week, that you would think maybe incentivized the Eagles a little bit. But Jalen Hurts on that drive is picking up yards, not with his legs, but with like precision throws. That drive, let's see, a 9-yard run to start. Then Gainwell picks up the first down. The Eagles call timeout. They take a deep shot to A.J. Brown that goes incomplete. Then a Gainwell run. That's when Minnie calls a timeout. So it's 3rd and 6 at their 21 with 28 seconds left. And Hurts hits Devonte Smith for 16 yards, Dallas Goedert for 19 yards, Dallas Goedert for 24 yards, and you get a bonus 3 points there at the end of the half. And it was like the touchdowns in the beginning of the game were very impressive, but those were like, that's the designed stuff from Nick Sirianni. So you're giving credit both for the design, but like in the flow of the game, to trust that this offense can do that, I think is really meaningful.
You're absolutely right. And he completes his first 11 passes, right? You spoke about, so that first drive, we can get to that separately, because that's like you said, that's design. They're going up tempo. They're catching the Vikings off on the back of their heels. All right. After that first drive, the Vikings see what the Eagles are doing. Now, what's your counterpunch, right? Well, he just kept rolling that way. And you mentioned at the top of the show the incompletions that he had. When you can point out the specific incompletions, that's a sign of a good night. The last time a quarterback had this type of completion percentage, he finished 83.9%. That hasn't been hit since Nick Foles at the end of the 2018 season, was it? Yeah, okay. That game in Washington. Remember that?
Yeah.
Some of the benchmarks that he hit tonight, you go back the Michael Vick Monday night game, the last time someone had 300 yards passing and then 2 rushing touchdowns, right? So that it's the accolades stack up, but you in talking about that drive at the end of the half, I think that showed the confidence they have in him in these impromptu situations, right? And just the ability, that's not something where he's taking off and having long runs. He brought them in the field goal range with his arm and putting the ball in tight spots. Can't say enough about him.
I've never seen him, like, just anecdotally, I've never seen him play so well.
And the interesting thing too is after the game, and it was purposeful on his part, but like totally unimpressed. with his performance, right? Like not
Yeah, they left some meat on the bone.
exactly.
No points in the second half, even though
Yes.
they moved the ball.
Yes, and he said his message in the locker room afterwards was the same as it was last week. You know, he gave the Mike Tomlin, the standard is the standard, and they still have to hit it. And so it was purposeful by Hurts, almost like, yeah, I expected this, and there's more to do. And frankly, he didn't have to say it because we all watched it. This was the best he's played in an Eagles uniform.
I mean, I don't know. Get excited. You know, this is
Yeah.
what it's all about, right?
I mean, every I say it every year on this pod. Every week's a season, right? In Washington next week before we get on 95, perhaps the conversation is different, but they have all the ingredients, and we'll get to it. I imagine the way the defense played tonight. Like there aren't that many holes on the team, and if you thought going into the year that the hole was the quarterback, then I get it's a long season, but you couldn't have asked for more than what you've seen through 2 weeks.
Stopping myself from making a whole joke.
A hole?
Yeah. How you doing? How you feeling?
Energized, excited for this pod. Yeah. I mean, it's 2:26.
You don't like when it's a late night pod and I try to
No,
go
I
off
don't.
script.
Yeah, I try to be all business.
How was your weekend?
It was nice. It was
Okay.
nice.
How was your Monday?
I mean, this was the highlight. I was
Yeah,
just
but during
counting
the day.
down. I was counting down. I was up early. I wanted, EJ Smith at the Inquirer wrote a good story, and I wanted to text him, but I didn't want to wake him up.
It's funny because I was asking him about that story, and he said, Zach texted me this morning, and I said, oh, it must be up.
Yeah, I had to like wait for the right time. Yeah, I mean, it's how I think ESPN once had a promotion, just waiting for
Who's
Monday.
now? Oh, okay.
Yeah, just waiting for Monday, and that's kind of what my day was like. I look at the clock. It's only 11 a.m. It's only noon. It's only 1. It's only 2. When can I, So yeah, happy to be here tonight. I enjoyed it.
I'd say the highlight of this game, I didn't see it when it happened, but heard that there was a Birds with Friends t-shirt, somebody wearing a Birds with Friends t-shirt on the Jumbotron.
That's great. Good branding.
Yeah, let's
come
go.
with your Birds with Friends shirts and
I think we
try
should
to
make
get on
that a
the
promotion.
Jumbotron.
If you can get on the Jumbotron wearing a Birds with Friends shirt, you get something.
Yes.
Like Zach's turkeys. I don't know.
Yeah, there aren't that many to give.
Well,
so,
we'll get to that.
yeah.
Okay. I mean, maybe I'm getting this is recency bias, but I submitted the power rankings after the game. Where do you think I had the Eagles?
4.
I had them at 3.
Ooh, okay, well there's what, 3 undefeated teams or 4 undefeated teams?
No, there's at least 4.
Okay.
Eagles, Chiefs, Bills, Giants, Dolphins.
Okay.
There might be one more.
There you go. I'm pulling this up here. Yeah, Dolphins, Bills, Chiefs. I was thinking of the NFC. Eagles, Giants, Bucks.
Yeah, so 6.
Yeah. Okay, so of those teams, I mean, maybe the Bucks. You put it.
Yeah, that was the one that I got a little ahead of myself and put them ahead of the Bucks.
Yeah.
But the Bucks are injured,
Yeah.
The quarterback's going through personal acrimony.
So you went Chiefs, Bills, Eagles.
I did.
Okay.
Eagles got an easy schedule. They got a path to the 1 seed. Let's get crazy.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far yet, but
I mean, they do. They have a path.
well, yes, they have a path. Every team has a path.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, look,
They're the second easiest schedule in the league. This is the prophecy that Dana has foretold.
I mean, I would just say enjoy the ride. Like, don't pick up your head at week 2 and say they can do it. Right? That's a little premature.
But that's part of the ride.
Yeah, but I think that there was so for me,
We're not we're our listeners. Yeah. There are some listeners in the locker room, I'm sure, but I think for the most part, they don't have to be worried about keeping the main thing.
In 2017, for me, it was the Thursday night game in Carolina, which was week 6.
Mm-hmm.
And when they won that, I was like, all right, this team can be good. I think the Eagles can be really good. Now, are we talking? If we're talking like deep into the playoffs good, I'm going to have to see more than what I've seen. But I don't want to rain on the parade.
I'm not asking you to
this has been
buy your
outstanding.
tickets, but right now that's how good they are. There are not a lot of good teams in the league right now. It's it's only been 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's September. Wake me up when September ends. Isn't that a pop culture reference?
That is a pop culture reference. Do you have any idea what the pop culture reference is?
HBO used to have their promo, and they had that song, "Wake Me Up When September Ends."
Yeah.
I know it's a song. I don't know who sings it.
It's a band that once covered a
Green Day
Joy song. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Big pull out of you.
All right, doing my best.
Could you name another Green Day song, or an album title, or a member of the band? Could you give me one other thing about Green Day?
So the Eagles had a great game tonight. Okay, I probably can't. I know the song that Mountjoy covered, but no, I can't give you much else on Green Day.
Okay, you did your best. Marissa, anything to add on Green Day?
So I actually was like, oh my gosh, I know so much about Green Day, and now I'm blinking too. So Zach,
well, we did wake you up in the middle of the night.
I'm in the wake me up when September ends, right? No, yeah. So I gotta be on Zach's side because I currently at the moment cannot. That was like 8th grade for me. So yeah, big middle school Green Day fan.
Okay.
So, okay, back to Eagles.
I
all right. Oh yeah, I forgot you can't hear her.
Oh yeah, sorry.
She said she's with you. She has a lot to say about Green Day, but she can't remember it. So she sympathizes with you.
I'm sorry we woke you up. I was in the bathroom before this, and there was another writer in there, and he's like, "What, you're doing a podcast now?" And I'm like, yeah, he's like, "People are listening at 2 a.m." I said, "You'd be surprised. We have a loyal audience." So
we have people. I'm gonna hop in again. We have people in Hawaii, Australia.
Let's talk Eagles.
Marissa says we have people in Hawaii and Australia. And the bathroom.
Yeah, we got people. I think Vancouver. We got people listening from all over. So lots of sickos out there.
Lots of sickos out there, Zach.
I appreciate all.
And that's why we asked you to record people in the bathroom.
That'd be weird. All right, let's are we still on Hurts?
Let's go through the offense. Let's go through the possessions.
What are the possessions?
Yeah, why not? There weren't that many. Okay, so things start off. They get the ball and they go right down the field. 11 plays, 87 yards. I guess 82 yards after a penalty for a touchdown. You talked about they went up tempo on this drive.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles in this game tilted much more towards 11 personnel. They were very heavy 11 personnel in this game, and stuck with that throughout.
And often went empty.
And did a little bit empty. There were a few really nice design. Now that opening drive, the Vikings were playing in sort of like a very passive two-man shell. It seemed like, but there were a few nice little wrinkles to the game plan that I really liked in this game from the Eagles. There was that one set where they went 2 plays or twice in 3 plays, that little Jalen Hurts pump and then the handoff, which was, I think, taking advantage of the Vikings doing a bit of a mush rush at that point to stop Jalen Hurts from running. The design on the Quez Watkins long touchdown was really nice, I thought. So kudos to Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen on that front. But the opening drive set the tone, and then the Eagles we'll get to the defense after that. But the Eagles go touchdown, punt, touchdown, field goal in their 6 first half possessions, and they only had 2 3-and-outs. So even in the second half, when they didn't score any points, they were moving the ball. There was the blocked field goal, and then there 2 other punts had first downs in them. So I don't know. The offense is. I mean, the way Jalen Hurts played, the offense was cooking. As you respond to our editor for Jalen Hurts story that you have filed.
Yes. Yeah, and I specifically asked Sirianni about that opening drive because I thought the script was outstanding, right? And I mean, obviously, it was they
like Casablanca level or
no, the
Dunston checks in.
the opening script was working well. Sirianni says they have to clean up the penalties, right? They still got it moving. And something that stood out to me, and this I imagine was by design, was they spread the ball out on that drive. 4 different players caught passes, 5 if you include the penalty that was nullified. They had 8 guys catch passes throughout the game, but a big topic this week, like we know, as we discussed, was the target share, and it was more evenly distributed. Devonte Smith had the first target of the game.
Yes, you chest puffed right away.
I did not chest puff right away. They
hooted and hollered.
I certainly did not hoot and holler. That is
took your clothes off.
That would be very weird. Okay, that was obviously by design, as Devonte said. And then and just I'll put it this way: Quez Watkins did not have a target last game. Comes out of this game with 2 catches and a touchdown. Devonte Smith matches his career high with 7 catches. So
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, across the board, just really getting these guys involved. But you saw that from the opening drive.
Here's a huge flex, Zach. I did a hit on the Sirius Fantasy show this afternoon. And they asked me, people playing DFS tonight, 2 games. Give me like a sleeper. Is it going to be Kenny Gainwell? Is it going to be Boston Scott? I said, no, it's going to be Quez Watkins. If somebody's going to hit a big play, it's going to be Quez Watkins. Well, Quez Watkins, 2 for 69, nice, and a touchdown, helped him out. Somebody somewhere was driving, listening, and thinks, wow, that guy knows what he's talking about. And boy, are they wrong.
If you read your stuff, you know what you're talking about. For the
Britton Covey,
3-man roster predictions, yeah.
Well, 3 in a row is pretty good, but okay. Any other thoughts on the first half offensive performance?
So yeah, 2 things jumped to mind. First off, you mentioned it, the run that Jalen Hurts had, the second touchdown run, just so impressive.
Beautiful.
When he got past the 10-yard line, I thought he was gonna step out of bounds, right? And he could have. He actually turned inside, and he initiated contact, spun through, reached out. Terrific play. The first touchdown run, Nick Sirianni said it reminded him of the run against the Saints last year.
Yeah, he did that little plant with the lead foot and then cut back inside.
So those are, I thought the pass to Quez Watkins, outstanding play.
Yes.
And I mean, are we on the defense yet, or we're just
we'll save the defense.
Okay, entirely on the offense. I thought, the only blemish I would say is they were penalized too often. And you pulled up the quote that you asked him last year about the illegal man downfield, and it did
3 times in one game.
It seemed the officials were trigger happy on that call because I shouldn't use that term. They were flag happy on that call because they did the same thing.
Kind of ridiculous
with the Vikings. Yeah,
I think Bill Barnwell tweeted out one of the dots of Landon Dickerson being like a yard downfield. He got called twice. Yeah, I mean, it was clearly like an emphasis for them coming into this game, but God forbid a couple offensive linemen are 1.5 yards downfield instead of 1 yard downfield. A little ridiculous, but they got to get it cleaned up. There were a couple other plays that were called back. There was that completion rolling to his left to Quez Watkins where he drags his feet. That was a big boy throw, and that one got called back for, I believe, a Mailata hold. But the penalties are something they need to get cleaned up.
And on that opening drive, as I look over it, the 19-yard pass to A.J. Brown was just huge. 3rd and 13 there, right? When you're in 3rd and 13, that's obviously a low probability play. Hits A.J. A.J. being your legit number 1 receiver there. And then as I look through here, I always harp on 3rd downs. I thought they were really good all night on 3rd down. They even had one called back from an offensive pass interference. That was a questionable call. I was listening to the telecast in my ear, and Troy Aikman said he didn't like that. I'm looking here. Eagles 7 of 13 on the night on 3rd downs, and probably a few in the fourth quarter skewed that. I have to go through, but yeah, I mean, if you're converting over 50% of your 3rd downs, that's a good sign.
I'm gonna go through my my quote sheets here. See if there's anything Jalen Hurts said that we need to talk about. You were in there. Anything he said?
I was. So he actually
looked like
said
he was ready. He would look like he was ready for a wedding. The way that he was dressed, a little black tux, type deal.
So he had
dancing shoes.
So he had Monday Night Football on his mind. The Monday Night Football game he had on his mind was the game last fall against the Dallas Cowboys. The last time they played on Monday Night Football, the Eagles lose by 20 points. He said he has not forgotten that. So making up for that
material for himself.
But asked him what he was most pleased about with his performance, and he said he could tell me what he was displeased about, and that was the way they ended the game. And then he said, he didn't say, I'm trying to think here. He
looked like a penguin in the black and white, I
didn't think he looked like a penguin. I thought he looked sharp.
Jane does a good penguin. Waddle, 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 waddle. That's what she.
Yeah, Sloan does too. Yeah.
We got some good animal back and forths going on in the house right now.
He didn't have. There's bugs in here.
Because we're the only light in the stadium, and the bugs that were outside are coming in.
He did not have. I thought the most interesting thing from Hurts' press conference was the tone that he struck. It wasn't "I told you so." It wasn't, "Man, I'm rowing right now." It was, "Yeah, we need to get better." And
he's not going to give anything interesting in an interview like that. The interesting things he gives are the celebrations that he gives, like after a touchdown.
He did tweet
when
though.
He finally releases that energy. What did he tweet?
He did tweet. You would appreciate his punctuation.
Was it like a drill tweet?
No. Hurts, donut, ? With a wink.
What? What a weird tweet out of him. What? That's so unlike him. And it's also so unoriginal. The Hurts donut. Have you ever had a Hurts donut?
Hurts donut?
Yeah.
No, is that a thing?
Oh. Hurts donut.
No.
That's the joke. You never had that in the playground?
No.
Someone punches you in the arm after you said, "Have you ever had a Hurts donut?"
Oh, no, I did not.
No?
Yeah.
Jeez. With 6 brothers or 5 siblings you never had the Hurts donut?
Honestly, if it was more like, we wouldn't preface a push or a shove with
you would just
something
go
like that.
right
Yeah,
at it.
it's like you hard foul and then they come at you and it was more like that. It wasn't some cheesy.
Which
line.
of the Berman brothers or sisters did you personally have the most altercations with?
Probably Matt and Alex or Nick. I don't know. I was.
Sounds like there were a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, in basketball, I was a bit of a dirty player sometimes.
Oh, you were?
And
okay.
I wouldn't say dirty. I was like
purposefully throwing elbows?
Yeah, or just grabbing and pushing and shoving.
Okay.
And I would say if it's a foul, call it, right? And then and then when they call it, I'm like, "Oh, you're calling a foul on that, right? Like this is pickup basketball and you're calling a foul." So a lot of that. Trying to compensate for not being as good. Anyways, let's talk about the Eagles defense, should we?
Well, if we're gonna transition to the defense, we'll go to break first.
Okay.
But is there anything else that you need to say about Jalen Hurts or the offense?
Devonte, we mentioned that rebound game. Thought Miles Sanders quietly had an impressive game. Some really good runs. Thought the line played decently.
17 carries for 80 yards. For Miles Sanders, 4 for 19 for Boston Scott, 2 for 7 for Kenny Gainwell. Sanders also had 3 catches for a whapping 6 yards.
I thought Jalen often had time. The 3 sacks can be misleading because some of those were like runs that he was sacked behind the line of scrimmage on almost. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought the line played well. I thought Shane Steichen deserves credit. This was a well-called game. So
yeah, I'd say so. I would say big picture, just zooming out. I mentioned this before. Through 2 weeks, the Eagles 3rd in the league in EPA per drive behind the Chiefs and Dolphins. But both of those teams are buoyed by monster performances. The Dolphins this week, the Chiefs last week. As I said, the Eagles, the only team in the league with 2 top 10 performances through 2 weeks. Jalen Hurts, 5th in the league in EPA per dropback, according to True Media. And as I said before, went from having the lowest ADOT in the league last week to the 9th deepest in this game. So he is winning in multiple ways. And the offense has been very good. So that's the most important thing in the NFL. And right now they're doing a very good job. 2 weeks. We'll see. All right, let's take a little break, come back and talk about the defensive performance and a Melvining under the lights once again. 2-10 on Monday Night Football. Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. More athletes are speaking out about the importance of mental health these days, and I think Eagles fans would agree. The ball started rolling a little bit with Brandon Brooks. He was on the forefront of this, and good for him. So you don't have to be a pro to want to be at the top of your game. Everybody needs to take care of their mental well-being, whether you are an athlete or not. And therapy is the best way to stay in peak mental shape. What do you get out of therapy? Well, you could unload stress. You could have some issues with emotional healing or some help with anxiety or depression, or you could just want somebody to talk to. Well, if you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, accessible, affordable, and entirely online. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey and switch therapists anytime. When you're ready to feel at the top of your mental health game, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/BWF today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/BWF.
Imagine having one extra day every week, more time to cook healthy meals, work on that novel, or binge some good reality TV. I know I'd love that. Now that's all possible with ClickUp, the productivity platform that'll save you 1 day a week on work, guaranteed. ClickUp began with the premise that productivity was broken. There were too many tools to keep track of, too many things in entirely separate ecosystems. There had to be a more productive way to get through the daily hustle. ClickUp is one tool to house all your tasks, projects, docs, goals, spreadsheets, and more. ClickUp is built for teams from 1 to 1,000 or more. It's packed with features and customization options that no other productivity tool has, so you can work the way you work best. Whether you're in product management, engineering, sales, marketing, or HR, ClickUp has easy-to-use solutions that create a more efficient work environment. Join the more 800,000 highly productive teams using ClickUp today. Use our code BIRDS to get 15% off ClickUp's massive unlimited plan for a year, meaning you can start reclaiming your time for under $5 a month. Sign up today at clickup.com and use the code BIRDS. Hurry up, this offer ends soon.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear us? Marissa, are we good?
You're good, but you did almost give me a little bit of a heart attack at 2:48 in the morning.
I'm glad we're keeping you on your toes.
So for
the
behind
mic came
the
disconnected,
scenes,
and
so behind the scenes, the ad was about to finish, and Bo and Zach disappeared, and it was just me on here. I was like, "What the heck am I supposed to do all by myself on here?" Like, I'll just start taking questions. So I'm glad you're
the
back.
Mic disconnected. We're back. We
Okay,
squeezed
good.
it in. Good job on the reads. That's what really made the difference. All right. Zach, the Eagles defense, obviously the more maligned of the two units. A performance last week that looked pretty ugly. They gave up the third best offensive performance in the week to the Lions last week. Tonight, a little bit different. 7 points against the Melvins, the fighting Melvins. 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions, 2 of them from Darius Slay. Darius Slay spent a lot of time lining up against Justin Jefferson. It wasn't exclusively like that. Justin Jefferson saw a bunch of different coverages, but Jefferson finishes with only 6 catches for 48 yards. Kirk Cousins, the leading rusher for the Vikings in this game, and something of a surprise, but 27 of 46 for 221 and 1 touchdown. The red zone defense, which was so bad last year and so bad last week, they bucked up in this game. 2 of those interceptions coming in the red zone. The pressure was definitely better. Not great. There were only 2 sacks, but those interceptions came in large part because of the pressure that was in Kirk Cousins' face. I think it would be fair to say that given the opponent, this was probably the best defensive performance we've seen from a Jonathan Gannon unit. By EPA per drive, it was their 3rd best, and the other 2 last year were the Jared Goff game, the 44-6, and I think the Giants game,
okay.
one of the Giants games from last year. So,
yeah, I mean, I give the defense so much credit. I'll start with the personnel, right? Because they're the ones out there making plays. And then the Gannon.
5th best game of the year through league-wide in these first 2 weeks by any defense.
They were so much more aggressive. You talked about the interceptions, but in addition to that, just the pass breakups here. Like I'm looking at the passes defended stat. I know that can sometimes be nebulous, but 5 passes defended by Darius Slay. That shows
crazy.
you
He was all over the place.
James Bradbury had a PBU on a 3rd down. TJ Edwards had a PBU on the 3rd down.
Dante Maddox.
Yeah, we spoke on Friday about how the Eagles can't be how the rush needs to marry the coverage, and you can't be playing off when the quarterback gets rid of the ball quickly, and how 3rd down in red zone situational football that needs to improve. Well, the Vikings tonight, 4 of 12 on 3rd down, 1 of 4 in the red zone. I mean, that tells you the story of this defense. The 3 takeaways. They were getting pressure. They had a good plan. They put it in place. You saw blitzes. You saw tight coverage. You saw aggressiveness. You saw different packages from the defense. Just so impressed with this group. Bottled up the run, disrupted Kirk Cousins. I mean, I don't think it was a situation where Jonathan Gannon was like keeping stuff in his pocket for week 2, but there definitely were changes from week 1 to week 2. And Gannon, he put his money where his mouth was. He told you what they needed to do better, and they did it better, and it came through today. And Hurts is going to be the story, as he should, but for all the heat that was on Gannon, some of that needs to come off because his group played very well.
Thing that you're saying to Den is?
Well,
It's like a conversation between the 2 of you, or
far be it for me to pick a fight with Deniz. I mean, he affected my weekend.
We'll get to that.
We don't have to do that tonight. We can save that for later.
No chance.
Darius Slay was a star tonight, and the more you put last year and this year together, you wonder like what the heck was happening in 2020.
Yeah.
Right. He wanted this matchup against Jefferson. You saw him manned up a decent amount, and they couldn't complete a pass on him. He said he should have had 3 interceptions. He had 2. Before the second interception, he came up slowly on that play. The Eagles actually sent Zach McPherson out or onto the field, and Slay waves him off.
Yeah, kicked in a little Dupree's.
And says he wants to be out there, and then gets the interception. The first interception, he brought it over to James Harden. He said after the game, he actually he didn't know Harden was here until he saw it on the Jumbotron. He said Harden's one of his favorite players, so he wanted to do that. And then the second interception, he wanted to give that to his son because Jefferson's one of his favorite receivers. So that's kind of the distribution for where those balls go.
Poor Jalen Reagor.
But just awesome game from Darius Slay, this true number 1 cornerback. And look, that trade is aging exceedingly well. We don't need to do a relitigation on the trade tonight.
It's true.
But man, I mean, he's what you want in a top cornerback in the sense that he wants to go up against top receivers, and he answered the bell.
He was great tonight. He was fantastic. He was he bright lights were on and he shined. He was great. There's not much else to say. You talked about the blitz aggressiveness from Jonathan Gannon. Just a little peek at the numbers. Eagles 29th in blitz rate last year. They are 12th through 2 weeks of the season. They were 25th in blitz rate on first and second downs last year, up to 15th this year. And they were 27th in blitz rate on third down last year, up to 6th, tied for 6th through 2 weeks of the season. We're dealing with very small sample sizes, but that is a bit of a tendency breaker. Now, there were, I think, 2 plays in this game when things could have started to get a little bit nervy for the Eagles. One was a deep pass to Irv Smith. Left sideline, a play that it was kind of a weird play because he looked like he was about to get hit. I believe it was Josh Sweat coming around the edge. And I think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was a little bit thrown off that the ball came out as well as it did. It looked like it should have been maybe intercepted, but he mistimed it. And it hit Irv Smith right in the hands. It would have been a walk-in touchdown, and he dropped the ball. So that was a big play in the game. And then the other was the blocked field goal. Patrick Peterson coming around the edge, blocks a field goal. Could have been a touchdown, but Aaron Siposs making a big play in the open field, setting up the Vikings on their 30. And then, of course, Melvin threw an interception. So those were the 2 big plays in which I think things could have gotten a little bit away from them.
Agreed. Both were,
that wasn't much of a statement that needed an agreement or a disagreement.
Yeah. There were 2 questions to Sirianni about that Siposs play after the game. It was an important play. I still think the Eagles would have won.
Well, probably, but I don't know if you watched any football yesterday. Crazy things can happen in the National Football League.
Yeah, cover your ears, Marissa.
She's not on camera.
I know. It was a phrase, right? I remember after. No, I don't need to get down.
It's too late. You got to start. You started it. You got to finish it. It's a touch move here.
Well,
you remember when?
Which movie was it with the earmuffs? Was it? There's something about Mary.
Old School.
Old School. Yeah, Old School.
Hey, Marissa, how are you?
I'm good.
It's the mic. I don't know.
I'm just glad you guys are back.
How'd you feel that time? Any good stuff?
Oh, I was like, they're gone. And I'm like, it was a blank screen, and I'm like adding myself to the screen. Like, okay, I guess it's just me. Me and my glasses and my jammies.
Is it that you didn't get home until 4 a.m.? And I'm going to say, Bo can't keep the microphone in his computer.
Okay. Well, you're lucky you get to go home and go to sleep. I still got to write the day after.
I'm on radio at 8:10 tomorrow, so.
I'll tough life. Oh, poor guy. I'm on radio at 10 a.m. at 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Yeah. You're not sleeping that late anyway.
That's true.
It's no skin off your back.
That's true.
Plus, you're getting paid.
We don't need to go down this.
Well, I mean,
So you're talking about the blitz rate before.
Yeah, we already went over that.
Okay. We talked about Slay.
I thought the defense in general had a bit of that rabidness to it tonight that we haven't seen from a Jonathan Gannon unit. They were rallying to the ball. I thought there were some big hits. Marcus Epps had a big hit in the open field. TJ Edwards looked. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they can hear us right now, though.
Okay.
Are
we good?
Okay.
Thumbs up?
Marissa says thumbs up. All right, yeah. I thought anecdotally this was the best the defense has looked under Gannon.
I agree. And I got to say selfishly, listening to the call, there were a few opportunities in there for for Joe Buck to mention the Marcus Epps story, right? I mean, Epps made a few plays there, and I was thinking, and then
I don't know how many of you guys have seen Love and Basketball, but this is Love and Football on the field. Check out Bo Wulf's story on Marcus Epps and Omar Epps.
I was thinking, Joe, you could slip this in, and then Troy would just talk a little too long there, get to the next play, and there goes my opportunity.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. All right, let's take our last break and come back. We'll get into Swooper. We'll get into Zach's honeymoon and whatever else nonsense he wants to talk about. It's crazy that so many of us enjoy the finer things in life, you know, like Zach Berman up in his ivory tower. And yet so many of us settle for blah coffee every day. Not Zach. Zach's not, you know, not the world's biggest coffee guy, but he's trying to get into it. Well, the good news for us and for Zach is that with Trade Coffee, you can start every morning with something special. So let me tell you a little bit about Trade Coffee. Now, this is not Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and a 7th round pick for a 5th and a 6th trade we're talking about. This is a coffee subscription service unlike anything you've tried before because they partner with top independent roasters to freshly roast and send the best coffees in the country direct to your home on your preferred schedule. It's the best. You know, we're supporting these local businesses and you're getting better coffee. And if what I got or what you got isn't up your alley, that's the thing. There's this personalized thing that you can fill out, and they will send you exactly the kind of coffee that you love. But if it's not the kind that you love, well, don't worry. Trade will have whatever it is you want. You can shop their most popular coffees by roast or flavor profile, or you can take their coffee quiz and get expertly matched with coffees you love. So, if you want to support small businesses and brew the best cup of coffee you've ever made at home, it's time to try Trade Coffee. Right now, Trade is offering our listeners a total of $30 off your first order plus free shipping at drinktrade.com/BWF. That's drinktrade.com/BWF for $30 off your subscription to the best coffees in the country. Marissa, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can't hear you. That's interesting.
Well, I can hear you.
As long as you can hear me. All right.
Yep.
Well, we're back on Birds with Friends. You know, it's 3 a.m. What are you going to do? You're here. Zach's here in a prison of his own making. It's tough. All right, Zach. So how did you sleep this weekend, given the events of Friday's show?
I was disappointed in myself. Yeah, I was very disappointed in myself from because I feel like I betrayed my sorry at this hour the words don't come as quickly. I betrayed my ethos, right? Like and as I
big ethos guy.
As I did some Googling on that strategy, that's exactly what the dollar bid auction is supposed to do. It's supposed, you know, and I got too excited where my game is always, you know, be patient, have the longest view in the room. And so I was frustrated that I got a little too trigger happy there. And so, yeah, if you're going to lose your own way. Right. And I didn't lose my way. So frustrated by that, but I will be better for it. And,
well, Zach, you know, you beat yourself up, but you went 100% on your swoopers this week. You had Jalen Reagor has at least one catch, and Devonte Smith has a touch or target on one of the Eagles' first 2 plays. You hit the Devonte one, the Jalen Reagor one. He gets a handoff for a first down early in the game. It's getting down to it in the fourth quarter. I go to pee really quick and I get a text from you. You were saying, you know what? I'm not even paying attention to Swooper this week. You know, whatever you're saying, Bo, I'm not really following it. I leave for 1 second and I get a text from you that says Jalen Reagor exclamation point. So
first of all, it didn't have exclamation
you
point.
are,
and I was giving the text was regarding Did it have an exclamation point? Let's see. Rager. Yes, it did.
Rager!
Okay.
Exclamation point!
Yeah.
You liar!
Yeah. So I misremembered what I wrote there, but it was just about Jalen Rager having a catch against his former team.
It wasn't.
It didn't have swooper implications. Zach, you're off camera. I'm back on camera. Sorry.
That was absolutely about super implications. You are lying. But I don't blame you.
In any event,
so that's 2 for you. Marissa had 2, and there are at least 5 rushing touchdowns in the game. Did not happen. And Miles Sanders has the longest run of the game. That went to Jalen Hurts. So a tough offer for Marissa. I had 8, thanks to my just perfect play on the increasing all bid auction. Devonte Smith has at least 2 catches. Correct. Jack Stoll has a catch. Did not happen. There are, one of the Vikings players named Jalen, whose last name ends with, or basically Jalen Naylor plays more snaps than Jalen Rager. I haven't looked this up, but I don't believe that happened. There are 2 or more lead changes in the fourth quarter. Didn't happen. Hassan Reddick has at least a half a sack. Didn't happen. Kirk Cousins throws at least 5 touchdowns. Didn't happen. The end zones will be painted with the new Eagles word mark, even though the jerseys still have the old one. That did happen, and so it looked like, Zach, we were going to have a tie until one of the very last plays of the game. Actually, I believe it was the last play of the game. Your boy, Josh Sweat, comes up with the sack of Kirk Cousins so that there are how many?
How many what?
There are how many?
Oh, 5 sacks.
5
Yeah.
sacks in the game. A win for me. 2 skins for Bo Wulf. An early lead.
Credit to you.
I agree. Credit to me.
You played it better than I did. Yeah.
That's correct. That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for tipping your cap, and keep that in mind. All right. Anything else to get to from this game, Zach? I know this is the precise thing that you don't like about the late night pods when I'm trying to drag it on.
So
as we get into the 3:00 hour,
we opened with this, but I do think that this game makes you think about the ceiling, the realm of possibilities for the Eagles. You did a good job outlining it today, I thought, in our email exchange that I would suggest go and read it, but it's a bit outdated now that the game occurred.
What are you doing?
But basically saying in so many words that this is like a litmus test game for the Eagles. This game will reveal a lot about them. And it does reveal a lot about them. And now you look at the schedule, and I do think
Josh Sweat, 3 tackles for loss.
Yeah. The that Washington offense has some juice. Like I know Carson Wentz is the butt of jokes, but that Washington offense has some juice. Nonetheless, the Eagles are going to be favored. I saw the early lines before it had the Eagles as road favorites, and I got to imagine that's only going to be bolstered now after tonight's performance. Then they got the Jags, who actually look good in Indianapolis, at Arizona, home against Dallas, home against the Steelers, at the Texans, right? Like, home against the Commanders, at the Colts.
Yeah, it's ugly.
This is
They have the opportunity to get the 1 seed
to make a run, right? And so, look, you have to show up every Sunday. I get it, but when Jalen plays
for Dancing with the Stars, and I think I recognized 1 person, 2.
There's no one in the press box anymore. Looking over there.
Yeah.
When Jalen plays like this, when the defense plays like this. When the home crowd is like this, to borrow a Bo Wulf-ism there, this is going to be – they are going to be a tough out every single week, and there aren't going to be many games when – there are not going to be many games when they go in as underdogs this season. So,
that means you're going to need a new title for your book when they win the Super Bowl.
They might be underdogs in the Super Bowl. Right, Underdogs Part 2, which, by the way, I should say if you're listening here, and there's going to be a lot of people listening on the audio version, I've gotten a few emails about it, and it's absolutely still the case that if you bring a book or you're interested in a book at a game this season, I will find time after inactives come out, before the kickoff, probably about 30, 40 minutes before kickoff to sign it. I'll meet you in this stadium or a different stadium. So happy to do that still.
Will you sign body parts?
No, that's kind of, I mean, who would want me to sign a body part?
I don't know. I don't know what the sickos want. Just
No.
asking them to get the terms out now.
I'll sign next to the title page of the book.
What about if someone drew like a doodle of a body part inside the book on that title page? Would you sign that?
Thank you for this, Jason. No, that'd be I don't know. That's an odd hypothetical, not one I need to ponder at 3:09 a.m.
Again, we got to get the terms out. We got to hammer these details down.
We'll discuss that over email. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Zach. Condensed week for the Eagles. What's the schedule moving forward here?
Yeah, so they're back to work on Wednesday, and we'll still have stuff. Make sure you check out. I have an article out now. Bo will have his day after tomorrow, and also Bo's power rankings. I'll pump up Bo for that. I'm looking forward to that. And then Wednesday, the Eagles are back at it. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then they're down in your favorite stadium in Landover, Maryland next week against the Commanders. And can we say Carson Wentz week, or is that reserved for when the Commanders visit in November?
Well, speaking of Melvins, did we spend enough time on Kirk Cousins like being a total dope in this game? He played like a ding dong.
Yeah, not a good Kirk.
I think their defense deserves credit. They did a good job with rush and with coverage, and the combination made it tough for us. We will watch it. We will have a lot of good conversations. There will be a lot of good coaching going on, and then get right back to work and just try to fine-tune everything.
So I was actually thinking about Kirk Cousins. I was on a walk today.
Quotes.
I was on a walk today listening to a podcast.
Disappointing performance.
It was the Ryan Fitzpatrick podcast with Part of My Take. And I
played like Andy Bernard.
Fitzpatrick was talking about the importance of the quarterback being, I think the term he used, like the dude, like a guy who can sit in the locker room and interact with everybody. And he juxtaposed it against some of these quarterbacks. He said these quarterbacks will have like private offices. And I remember that storyline that came out about Kirk Cousins, how he had his own cubicle with the team. Yeah.
Oh yes, and he also wanted a bubble for being unvaxxed.
Yeah. So yeah,
I don't understand. Why can't I just get my own little igloo?
So that made me think about Kirk. That made me think about Kirk Cousins. In any event, not a good performance tonight. Thought Kirk Cousins was going to be much more efficient against this defense, and this defense was ready for him.
That's for sure. 2-10 on Monday Night Football, Kirk Cousins. What do you attribute that to?
Good question. I haven't thought well enough. I don't have a cogent answer for you.
It's a good pull quote for the podcast.
I don't have a cogent answer for you. Yeah.
I would attribute it to him being not very good, but neither here nor there. And how about Justin Jefferson? This idea that he was going to he had some big post-game press conference planned if the Vikings won. Did you see that?
I saw, was it Kyle Brandt who tweeted that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to give credit where it's
a little aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't come to fruition. It would have been interesting.
What do you think it was going to be?
Oh, I have no clue. I mean,
come out with Jalen Rager on his shoulders or something? I
don't know. Replay the 2021 draft or the 2020 draft for the Eagles. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, for as bad as that first round was for the Eagles, they got their quarterback in the second round. I mean, you'd probably delete my review of that from the archive because
Davion Taylor was all over the place making plays tonight.
Now Howie beat
Kayvon
me on
Wallace played a snap. I believe
Howie beat me on the Hurts one. So overall, yeah, things are looking good for the Eagles.
They certainly are. All right. That'll do it, I guess, for this episode of Birds with Friends. For Zach and Marissa and Billy Joe, I'm Bo. We thank you for listening. We will talk to you later this week. We might be a one pod week, given the quick turnaround. We'll let you know, but we'll obviously have you covered on The Athletic with everything that you need. So the Eagles go to 2-0. with a 24-7 win over the Minnesota Vikings. They look like they could be for real. Could be a fun year. Get excited. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later. And as always, we love you.